It's replacing the Chromecast.
The Chromecast is end of life?
Yeah, end of life.
And this is replacing it?
Replacing it.
You know what's weird?
What?
The Chromecast is only like $1. And this streamer is $99.
Yeah.
Yo, what is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marquez.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
And this week, we've got a bunch of It's Almost Techtember type stuff happening, I would say. We've got some new UI features to help skip online ads, possibly. New Google hardware before we actually officially see the pixels, and Google being declared a monopoly and some interesting learnings from that. Plus, we're going to wrap up with a game that Adam has created called 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad.
Do you know where that's from, Marquez?
I don't.
Okay, we'll get there.
We'll get to that later.
I feel like I've heard it before. I just couldn't tell you where I heard it before. You know?
I'll take that.
Yeah.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
But I'm going to jump in actually because there was an early headline that I've shared on Twitter that I found the reactions to, again, interesting. But it was that NVIDIA this time was caught allegedly talking in Slack about scraping a whole bunch of YouTube and Netflix videos.
This one's funny because NVIDIA was part of the pile that we talked about previously, but
Right.
This is like, that was under the guise of, oh, we just used an open source thing. The pile stole from you.
Yeah, this was NVIDIA.
Their Slack.
NVIDIA deciding what to pull to train their own models.
Yeah.
And the reactions that were interesting were kind of, again, along the same lines of half the people are saying, wow, that sucks that you've put in all of the work to make this thing and it's just being stolen to be scraped for AI to go profiteering somewhere. And then the other half are saying, well, you did make it and put it on the internet for free. What do you expect? You kind of just, you don't own it anymore. It's kind of just out there. And
Google owns it.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I think that I get that perspective because that's kind of what it seems like on the surface. But there is a difference between, because people are saying, what's the difference between me like looking at your video and being inspired by it and NVIDIA scraping the video and training a model off of it? And I think there's a difference between profit and just like personal use. So that exists.
I think there's also like people watching it on YouTube are doing the appropriate things to pay for watching it. They're watching it either
ads.
with ads or they have a premium account. It is like going into I think that's kind of cool that people just don't realize they are semi-paying YouTube in that way.
With their
they
time.
just feel like it's a free thing, but
Right.
it's not. And also, didn't NVIDIA say they're scraping like one person's lifetime worth of watching videos a
Said
day?
80 years of human video watching per day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just like totally normal. What's the difference between that and just
I can do
watching some
that.
YouTube videos
Yeah, I
and getting
could do that.
inspired?
Yeah. They also scraped Netflix, which seems
How much of Netflix?
all of it probably.
David, I can just watch Netflix on my TV. What's the difference?
Yeah, it's funny because this is a 404 Media article that this all came out in. They've been doing some really good work recently, but they obtained some Slack messages from an ex-employee that had left NVIDIA where they were directed by their director to scrape a list of different YouTube channels and also a lot of Netflix. They also suggested they should just scrape the entire Discovery Channel.
That was like a
Which I
suggestion,
find
right? It was
funny.
like, we should just do all of the Discovery
The
channels.
Discovery Channel. Yeah. So apparently they used 20 to 30 virtual machines to download 80 years of video a day. They used these virtual machines, which had rotating IP addresses so that the YouTube downloader would not ban them and like block their IP.
Do you think they had 30 Netflix accounts?
I mean, that would be a small price to pay.
It would be a small price to pay, and I bet they're still not doing it.
They're probably still not doing it. Yeah.
That's very efficient.
Yeah.
30 computers did all that? Well, 30 virtual machines?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I know. Well, I mean, to be fair, 80 years of human video watching a day isn't
a ton.
But when you're running a lot of things in parallel, it's not actually that much. And they were downloading that much, right? The speed that it takes to download a 30-minute video could be a minute, depending on how fast your internet is.
They're not actually watching any of it.
Yeah.
They're just downloading it. And being fed into
Right.
the training.
YouTube does this all the time. They're like, people on our platform upload 3,000 years of video a day, and it's like, that's not all from one person.
Yeah, most of it has 0 views.
Yeah. And I just think that these companies, they decide that they are not going to understand the difference between fair use or like what's publicly available is what they like to say, and actually free to use. Those are very different things. Yeah. Every time one of these companies gets asked, where'd you get this data set from? They always just say, publicly accessible videos. It's like, yeah, YouTube is publicly accessible. That still breaks their terms of service, dude. I don't know. If Google is not going to sue them because Google is possibly
They will not
saying they're
them.
doing this, also scraping YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix is not Google, and Netflix is not making their own AI model, so I feel like they are much more likely to do something
there will
about
be
it.
a Netflix AI within the next 2 years.
But they're probably
what
gonna,
it does, I agree with you.
I imagine Netflix is just going to use, OpenAI or something, though.
True.
So,
Okay, stop me if I said this last week already, but
Stop.
I would like there to be someday a checkbox in YouTube settings that says, allow my videos to be scraped for AI and compensate me for it.
yeah.
I think it will take a while to get to that point because the lawsuits have to happen, the terms of service have to be updated. The precedent hasn't actually been set yet, but once we get to that point, I think that's fine. If each individual video has a checkbox where you can actually enable or disable it, and it will actually affect whether it is scraped or not.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
It's just interesting to me because as soon as publications and newspapers and those kind of guys started getting scraped, there were lawsuits out the wazoo. Like New York Times just added a ton more
7 million
more alleged cases to their giant OpenAI lawsuit. And we haven't seen YouTube or Netflix or anyone file any sort of lawsuit against these companies, which is weird.
Like YouTubers is going to be a weird one because we have to be represented by Google, and Google has to be the one making that because clearly there's no single YouTuber that could fight this, even at the highest level possible. And Google has to do it.
There is a lawsuit.
There is a lawsuit.
There's a lawsuit?
Apparently there's a lawsuit of a YouTube creator suing for scraping. YouTuber files class action lawsuit over OpenAI's scrape of creator transcripts.
Oh, so they just like went ahead and did it for everybody.
One creator has
class
decided
action.
to jump in. Yeah.
I can't wait till this class action goes through and we all make $40 in 7 years.
It'd be less.
Millette is represented by this law firm where we can link it below. They're seeking jury trial and over $5 million in damages for all YouTube users and creators whose data might have been swept in OpenAI's training.
Only 5 million.
OpenAI would flip the $5 million coin over to him and be like, keep the change.
Yeah,
Walk
exactly.
away.
The thing, I guess, the difference is like, do they settle or do they actually lose? And if they lose, they actually can't keep scraping it, or will they just keep paying?
Or do they have it
paying
all
a fine? I don't know.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter that they can't keep scraping it because they already can't scrape it legally.
Yeah, but there's at least a fine now
Some
or
precedent
something.
and-
Yeah.
Also, quick correction. It wasn't 7 million cases. It was 7 million new works that they added to its complaint.
That's what. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just-
yes, that's what I meant.
Just to be clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you meant, but
I
yeah.
meant like individual instances. That's what I meant by cases. Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, I'm not surprised. They ingested a data set called HDVG130M.
Bless you.
Yeah, thanks. 130 million YouTube videos in this data set. This data set explicitly says for academic use only.
It's like,
They used it anyway for commercial use.
mm-hmm.
This isn't even like the Apple case where Apple can say this is like a foundation model we are just using for, scientific
Research
purposes. They are actively putting this in their Omniverse 3D world
Is it?
generator,
Okay.
their self-driving car systems, and the digital human products.
And
So-
in Slack, they said MKBHD.
Yeah.
and linked to the channel.
Yeah.
Hey, at least we probably got a view out of that.
Not Waveform? Come on, scrape
says-
us.
This is garbage.
It says,
Don't train AI.
this person put like little descriptions beside each channel. They said, Blacktail Studio, woodworking channel, very professional videos. YouTube.com/Enos Yilmeiser, house tours with great narration. And they said YouTube.com/MKBHD, tech product reviews, super high quality.
Nice.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. Now stop.
Your mother would be disappointed.
Yeah.
What would Waveform's description be?
It would be no, don't do that.
Yeah, what not to sound like.
Yeah. Chaotic podcast about technology.
Many overlapping voices.
Anyway, many such cases, as Elon would say, of this happening. We will potentially be covering this more and more because I feel like every single week we cover a new scraping scandal.
Speaking
next?
of a scandal, that's not even.
That's not really a scandal.
Speaking of scraping,
Kind of.
the animation looks like a scrape.
Yeah. Well,
Like a snap.
a snap.
Like a snap. Okay. iOS 18 has a new distraction control feature, which will let you remove an ad from a website with a tap, and it has a super cool animation when it does it. We'll link it in the show notes. We'll play it on the screen for you here if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick. It's super over the top and gratuitous and unnecessary, and please keep doing that.
For audio listeners, it's basically like you scroll down. Every single person can imagine the web page with 30 ads breaking up every paragraph.
Yeah.
And when it comes over that, it just has like it highlights the box with the ad, has a little button that says hide, and you click it, and it literally like rainbow Thanos snaps it, and it like drifts
Yeah.
away.
You do have to like click a button first, though.
You do have to
Yeah.
click a button, yes.
Yeah.
And it works on anything. I was playing with it earlier
Yeah.
today.
Really?
I was like removing whole headlines and blocks of paragraph. It's just pretty fun.
It's kind of like that. Like Arc added that as an option.
Yeah.
Where you could
Yeah.
like modify the website. You could like basically completely get rid of the Twitter blue prompt and all that stuff.
If you've ever like played with inspect HTML and just like got rid of H3s in your browser,
I
that's
love doing
basically
that.
what it's doing.
Yeah.
Here's the question I have, and why I think maybe this is the better option than a lot of, because we've talked a lot about how like AI summaries can screw up ad revenue for websites because that's how they need to make money. This, at least, you see the ad.
Yeah.
So like if an ad doesn't grab you in that 2 seconds that you see it and you click on it normally, it's already done what it needs to do, and that website's made their money, because most of that is just through impressions, not through actual engagement. So by clicking remove, all that's doing is being like, I saw this, I'm not interested. You still get my impression, but now I can just
It
read
clears
the
up my
page
screen.
earlier.
Yeah.
Like I'm not more inclined to click an ad just because it's staying on the screen. So
Yeah.
it seems like these websites will still make the money off of this.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like videos, though. They're like autoplay versus
And if it
not
doesn't-
autoplay.
Yeah.
And if it plays, it's worth more. If
Interesting.
it doesn't, it's worth less.
Yeah, you can get rid of autoplay videos too. You can basically get rid of like any element on the screen by doing this.
Can I get rid of the whole stories recipe pages have beforehand?
Yes.
Yeah, just delete the first 7 paragraphs and you're good.
Yeah.
I think this is mainly to me like playing around with it earlier today. I think it's more for like bad actors. Like, you know, when you go to like a website and there's like 17 different ads, but there's like something you really want to read underneath.
Yeah.
It's not really for like the one-off ad that you're scrolling and it's like properly placed.
Yeah.
Wow, this will be really bad for the really cheap ads that are supposed to look like other articles on the webpage.
Oh yeah.
Because now, instead of that, seeing the like random
Yeah.
story that's actually an ad taking you somewhere else, a hide button will come up and you're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah. I think this just highlights how bad a lot of the web has become and how awful of an experience it's become.
This reminds me of, I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe it's still there. Wasn't there
Ask app not to track.
a reader feature in most mobile web
There
browsers?
still is, and it
where
still
you-
makes the experience way better.
So yeah, you come across a web page, it's got a ton of ads. Instead of having this Thanos Snap animation or whatever, you just go into reader mode and it just gives you the thing you need to read.
You can still do that on pretty much every browser.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna keep.
It's great.
I'm gonna keep doing.
Does that
I love it.
keep images though? Or does it also
Yeah,
get rid of
keeps,
images?
it keeps
Inline.
does? Oh, okay.
inserted images, but not like ads and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
No, it's
actually.
great. I use it a lot.
Yeah. And there's like third-party services that can do it too. If you want them to be like multi-platform, I want to read this article later,
Yeah.
but I'll keep it and read them on my iPad when I open it on my iPad. Like you
Yeah.
can do that too.
I think Readwise Reader does that. Pocket.
Yeah. Raindrop.io.
But interestingly, if it's so usually how these banner ads and stuff work is when you're a site provider, you set an interval at which you want them to refresh and like switch to a different ad. And a lot of websites just don't have them refresh, but like worse actor websites, if they know that you're going to be on the page for a little bit, they have the ads switch out every now and then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happens with this is when you Thanos snap one away, when it refreshes, it will show back up.
So it just pops up and moves everything again.
Yes.
So that's almost, if it's a bad
like
actor website
whack-a-mole.
like that, it's almost worse because now your page is jumping all over the place.
Yeah. So it's, it's interesting though. It reminds me a lot of when Apple added the Ask App Not to Track feature, which totally boned Facebook and like got rid of a lot of Facebook's revenue. I think it's an interesting spot to be in because Apple's not really a B2B company. They're kind of just a B2C company. So they do all this stuff that is very sort of like unabashedly like, yeah, this is probably going to piss people off, but this is good for your experience and it keeps people on the iPhone.
This is better than just straight up ad block for websites. So
And it won't get the websites pissed off at them.
yeah.
This is ad block with flair, basically.
Well, but the page still is going to get paid somewhat.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Which is beneficial.
Because I agree. I mean, it sucks that we live in this world where we have to have ads on everything that we do, but it's also what makes the internet free. It's just kind of gotten out of control. So unfortunately, no one's really figured out a model that works better than that yet. So this is kind of the world we live in, but having tools like this is kind of beneficial.
It is. And Apple is great at animations.
Yeah.
They really are. Just like,
This is true.
it's one thing.
Their animation team has been doing like not very Apple-y animations recently. Like I wouldn't have considered this an
never would've-
Apple-y
yeah.
animation
The new
until
Siri.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything in iOS 18 is like this magical, intense
Rainbowy
thing.
and
Yeah.
Giving me like old school HTC vibes.
Yeah, even the action button animations when you're going through the action button menu, it doesn't look like an Apple menu at all.
yeah.
I can't wait till RCS messages just come in that are green with like stinky lines going above it.
Wow.
It like drips out of it.
Slime like gooping down.
Anyway.
That would be so funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting rid of ads, I wrote these together.
Well played.
Yeah.
played.
This is a month old, but I just recognized it the other day, and when I posted it in Slack, it seems like a couple people didn't notice it. But there's this new jump ahead button in YouTube. Have you all seen it?
It's only if you have YouTube Premium.
Yeah. Where if there's, I don't want to say if there's an ad, but if there's a moment in a YouTube video that has like the peak, what do you call that?
Like retention.
Retention.
Where most people skip to.
Pretty much where they skip to, it gauges that part that everybody's skipping, and we'll have a little button that says jump ahead, and it almost always lands on an in-video integration.
Yeah, you can imagine what types of things people skip
Yeah.
from like a 30-second basis inside of a video. If they
Not
have,
on
like,
this
a
video.
Huge retention spike. Maybe maybe YouTube has some smart way of just knowing that people are going to want to skip it. Yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing is YouTube doesn't care because they have their
No.
before ads, their mid rolls, and their post rolls. But in the video
So true.
itself, YouTube doesn't have to care about whether or not you watch an ad.
If anything, YouTube would probably care
They're
that is in there, because the more you put of that, the
It makes
less
you
mid rolls
annoyed.
you'll put, or
Right.
something like that.
dang,
And-
that's a great point. YouTube's incentivized to add a skip ad button.
sure.
Because that means you are happier on YouTube, spending more time on YouTube, and are more likely to come back and probably watch more videos.
Yeah.
If you get that button and you watch less ads and videos.
And you'll get through the video faster and see another YouTube generated
Yep.
ad faster.
If you want to go a step further, it's YouTubers make less money on, hoping they might make less money on integrated ads because you can skip them now. So you're more likely to throw more mid rolls in that YouTube's controlling.
Yeah.
Better as a viewer, worse as a creator.
Yeah. I hope that we don't get to the point where advertisers catch on
It
and
won't
start
becau-
being like, people just skip your thing anyway.
Advertisers
People
have to catch on.
Here's the other thing though. Everyone always skipped the integration.
Except our audience.
Obviously.
They should pay double.
Look,
I mean, the company should pay double.
not
Oh,
the audience.
true.
Our audience watches everything.
Yeah.
every ad.
Thank
We have
you,
data on
best
that.
audience ever.
They've watched every minute of every Waveform episode.
Yeah,
It's like
just
when
don't check.
every podcast player has a skip forward button.
Yeah, Spotify.
They have
you
like a
can just-
plus 45-second
Yeah.
button. Why do you think that's there?
Bro, I would pay. It's not always a 30-second ad, but I've modified my skip forward button to be 30 seconds because it's around 30 seconds.
Me
but
too.
it's-
Yeah.
But it's
Like a
usually like
plus
33.
33-second button.
I've got
so
it down
annoying.
to a science. It's 3 taps forward, 1 back, 1, and then it's like.
I
perfect.
need some podcast player to come out with some sort of like AI. It's the one thing that I
This
want
is what
from
AI is good for.
Just recognize an advertisement, skip through it, or I would literally have, if there was a YouTube Premium for podcasts where you just never heard ads, I would literally pay like $20 a month
tough.
for
The
that.
skip forward button is a different time every time because it knows how long it is till the end of the ad.
That'd be
That would be the
cool.
best AI.
That'd be cool.
Probably
It's
in
like
any
40
app.
second point 42.7 seconds or something. Yeah. That'd be
That'd be
nice.
incredible.
Anyway, Pocket Casts, get on it.
We really need
Get
that.
on it. I have the pro subscription.
Anyway, we should take a quick ad break.
Big irony.
But
Don't leave.
Before we do that, we have some fun with trivia. So let's do trivia first.
Okay, first trivia question. I'm going to read you guys 3 hints, and you need to tell me what company I'm talking about. Hint number 1. While we always hear about the cliche story of starting companies in a garage, this company was actually started by 3 dudes in a Denny's. Hint number 2.
Denny's.
Before starting the company,
This is the company.
IHOP.
I was gonna say, what's like Denny's? Perkins.
that would be crazy. Before starting the company, the CEO actually worked at AMD. And fun fact, this same person also used to bus tables at Denny's.
What's AMD?
AMD?
Yeah.
The GPU
The company? AMD.
I thought you were joking.
AMD Ryzen.
Wait.
Yeah.
Is my brain just short circuiting?
I think so.
Wait, is that their name?
AMD.
AMD, what did you think it was?
Computer chips.
Sorry, my brain is literally short circuiting.
Oh
I'm
my
like, that's
God,
not
are
what
you
they're
okay?
called. My brain is like, that's not what they're called.
For listeners, we're recording late today because there was a lot happening.
Not late
so-
enough for David to not know what AMD is.
AMD.
I'm a little worried.
No, it's like when you hear a word and you're like,
That's not.
that's a real word?
Yeah.
I
That's
agree,
the-
but he
that's
said
the-
it one
AMD.
time.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
Hint
Well,
number
we're
3.
Experience
We're
I'm
good.
having right now.
I'll keep
The
an eye on
original,
it.
the original Xbox used a graphics chip from this company, which had a floating point performance of 7.3 G-flops, if that helps.
Gigaflops.
Doesn't help at all. But it's good context clues.
Started in a garage,
The Denny's thing feels
Not
like
in a
a fun
garage.
fact
not in a garage.
that doesn't actually tell us the company.
I thought that too, but everywhere I was Googling this, that story kept popping up. So I assume it's like
But
a
like if
thing.
I
original
if I
Xbox?
don't know the story, it won't help me to guess by knowing that it's Denny's.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
So it's what GPU company is it? That's the question.
Just what company?
company
What
in
tech company?
general?
Yeah.
But it used their GPU is what you're saying.
You technically didn't say
Yeah, I
that.
didn't say that.
Okay.
Are you okay, David?
AMD.
We'll have the answers at the end.
I need to
We'll
look
be
at
right
this
back.
logo. What?
Support for the show comes from Netsuite. So if you keep the cost of your business down, you can keep more cash. That's just the simple math. But with higher expenses on materials, employees, distribution, and borrowing, everything costs more. So to reduce costs and headaches, smart businesses are graduating to Netsuite by Oracle. NetSuite is a top-rated cloud financial system that brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one platform and one source of truth. And it lives in the cloud, meaning you could reduce IT costs since there's no hardware required, and it's accessible anywhere. So according to the company, you can also cut the costs of maintaining multiple systems, and you can improve efficiency by bringing all of your major business processes into one platform, slashing manual tasks and errors. Over 37,000 companies have already made the move, so do the math. See how you can profit with NetSuite. By popular demand, NetSuite has extended its one-of-a-kind flexible financing program for a few more weeks. So head to netsuite.com/waveform. That's netsuite.com/waveform. netsuite.com/waveform. Support for Waveform comes from Coda. So it's always a challenge for your company to stay organized when your team is spread out across time zones. Thankfully, with Coda, you can keep your whole team on the same page in an all-in-one collaborative workspace that brings together the best of documents, spreadsheets, and apps into one platform. That means less time ping-ponging between different tabs and tools and more time focusing on your projects. With Coda's extensive planning capabilities, you can stay aligned when managing your planning cycles and while measuring objectives and key results. Plus, you can access hundreds of templates and get inspired by others in Coda's gallery. Over 50,000 teams across the world collaborate with Coda, from the New York Times to Square, from Toast to TED and Uber. Coda empowers your startup to strategize, plan, and track goals effectively. Take advantage of this limited time offer for startups. Go to coda.io/wave today and get 6 free months of the team plan. That's coda.io/wave to get started for free and get 6 free months of the team plan. coda.io/wave. Support for Waveform comes from Life 360. So we all know that feeling. You're about to walk out the door, you do your phone, keys, wallet, pat down, and then you realize your wallet isn't in your pocket. It's not on the table, it's not on the nightstand, or in yesterday's pants. Now what? Next time, skip the hassle and stock up on tile trackers so you can attach them to your keys, slip one in your wallet, or anything else you just don't want to lose. So you can even put one on your pet's collar. Anytime you need to find something, you can use the Life 360 app to either ring your tile or track down its location if it's really lost. You can even track a stolen item without tipping off thieves. There's also a lost and found QR code so if someone finds your item, they can easily get in touch with you.
Is there like anything in the studio we feel like gets misplaced all the time?
Honestly, lens caps.
We're going to need a lot of tiles.
Yeah,
for that.
there's a lot of those. So you can keep track of what's important to you with Tile. Visit tile.com today and use code WAVE to get 15% off all tiles. That's tile.com, code WAVE.
All right, welcome back. Obviously, next week is the Made by Google event where we're going to get to see the new Pixels and all that stuff. But for some reason, 1 week prior, they decided to announce a bunch of other Google hardware.
I think those teams didn't talk to each other and forgot that they were supposed to coordinate.
Yeah.
No, not Google.
There was some stuff. I don't know. There was some stuff that was integrated. Anyway, what we're seeing this week is the new Google TV Streamer 4K, which is sort of like a set-top box. It's sort of their reaction to the Apple TV box. We are also seeing the new Nest Learning Thermostat Gen 4.
So pretty.
10 years in the making.
So pretty.
Really?
It's been 12 years since the original Nest thermostat, and the Gen 3 came out 10 years ago.
What?
Which is crazy.
That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah. And then also we got a new temperature sensor for the thermostat that comes with the thermostat now, and we also got some looks into the future of Google Home. So I went to a briefing in the city about a week ago, and this is what's new. Okay. We can start with the TV Streamer 4K.
I have thoughts on all of these because I use a version of all these products already.
Good.
Yeah.
You will have more thoughts than me because I only use one.
I'll tell you how they make me feel.
I like that.
Yeah.
What the vibes are.
Emotional.
Yeah.
So this the TV Streamer 4K looks like a little set-top box. It looks nice. It's kind of got that plush look that Google is kind of now going for most of their hardware. Looks very similar to like the Nest Wi-Fi Pro, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. $99. Unfortunately, I have to say that it is replacing the first product that Google ever sold.
You talking about the Nexus Q?
Bringing that back.
No, the
Talking about the Chromebook
Chromebook CR41.
It's replacing the Chromecast.
The Chromecast is end of life,
Yeah, end of life.
and this is replacing it.
Replacing it.
You know what's weird?
What?
The Chromecast is only like $1. And this streamer is $99.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing it's going to replace the Chromecast.
So a couple of years ago, I think it was 2021, either 2020 or 2021, they came out with the Chromecast with Google TV.
Right.
And that was sort
was
of like
more-
a reimagination of the Chromecast because it gave you the smart TV interface of Google TV, which had been totally redone. It was the new Android TV, but it had a remote control.
This is what I have now.
Yes. It basically felt like what you would get with an Apple TV, but it was still the dongle instead of being a set-top box.
Yeah.
So now they've
great.
got rid of... I know, I agree.
No,
Now they got
is it-
rid of the dongle.
Like one of the best products, like Chromecast was amazing. And then they
Yeah.
were like, hey, you don't have to you can still use your phone if you want, but now get a remote. And like
Yeah.
also they just have a great UI and bringing all of your different like shows and stuff through all your different subscriptions together on
Yeah.
one screen. It's generally better than most smart TV like UIs.
Yeah. Google
It's
TV is awesome.
Yeah.
Google TV is awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I guess they wanted to add more like brawn to it. So it has a 22% faster CPU, twice the RAM, 32 gigs of storage. This is also obviously not something that you generally think about when you think about your streamer player, but apparently they said in the future they want to allow for like 4 streams of sports at once. And apparently doing that, they need more bandwidth.
Okay, I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Like,
so
Be cool.
How would I do that?
Yeah, I guess the streams
Google
would have to be
TV.
coming from different
well, something they have
platforms.
Well, no,
Yeah.
because in YouTube, you can technically do multi-view.
Oh, so you can
and watch
only do
multiple videos at the same
in
time.
YouTube TV.
YouTube TV, regular YouTube, that kind of stuff. They also might let you, I'm not sure about this, they might let you watch different platforms at the same time, which would be hard on my brain.
That's
I'm
some
not
incredible
sure.
internet to do that.
I would like to know from the audience how many people actually watch multiple things at the same time.
Well,
on
I'm
their TV.
immediately thinking like, when Lane's old enough to watch TV, can I put on like Bluey and an F1 race in the bottom corner and just like pay?
Well, that's just
attention to
picture
that?
in picture, though,
Yeah.
right?
Does it have that already with two totally separate services?
It's a good question.
Why would
They,
you
I
wanna-
would not. I bet they have that. I'm just saying.
Why would you want to watch anything other than Bluey though?
I've also true. I've put,
Focus on Bluey.
hockey and F1 on at the same time, and I
Yeah.
would do 2 streams.
That's
of
fair.
it. I'm sure people.
right.
Olympics right now.
Yeah, that's true. Multiple sports.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it has Ethernet, it has HDMI 2.1. Also, it now has a button on the back that you can press and it will ring the remote, which is cool. That's nice. So the remote has a little mic. The remote is also redesigned. It is now longer. They have gotten rid of the volume buttons on the side and added them to the top. And they also, it has like a ribbed bottom so that it's like easier to hold and also stays stable more easily. There's also a remappable button on it that you can use to basically bring up whatever you want on Google TV.
An action button.
It's sort of an action button.
Nice.
I also noticed that I was comparing the Chromecast with Google TV to the new TV streamer remote. They replaced the button, the assistant button, because there was a Google Assistant button on the
assistant
last
logo.
one. They replaced it with just a microphone. And my
Here we
conspiracy
go.
theory...
Wait, just a microphone button, right?
button.
Okay. Yeah.
And my we've talked about this a lot. Like, what are they going to do with Assistant? Because they brought up the Google Assistant multiple times during this briefing.
Yeah.
They said they were making updates to the Assistant. And I asked them about this, and they basically said, we made it a microphone because in the context of your TV, people don't think about the mic being the Google Assistant. They think, I just need to talk to my TV. Apparently, people are just normalized now to talking to their technology with a microphone.
That's fair. Most
I think is
TV
fair.
remotes now have a microphone logo.
You kind of have to, because like in YouTube, if you want to search with voice, you have to click the mic button and then hold the mic button on the remote.
Right.
So I could see where the confusion between mic button and YouTube or Disney Plus or whatever then doesn't correlate to Google Assistant button. You need to see the like exact same icon.
Right. You can still do all the Google Assistant stuff that you could do before.
Okay.
But now it's just a mic button. The remappable button, they now have a new section in Google TV that can show all of your Google Home stuff. So you can see your Nest cams. You can see views from your Nest cams.
Like that.
You can like see all the lights, and you can like turn on and off your lights and your Nest thermostat stuff. So it's all basically integrated into one application, which is pretty nice.
I like that.
It was already a really nice interface. I think one of the best ones. I really dislike the Apple TV interface. I think the Google one is way better. And they made it better. What's also nice about it is it has Matter over Thread. So it can be a Thread border router, which we did a whole episode on Matter, which you can go watch if you want to learn more about that. But effectively, if you want to use Matter, you need to have a Thread border router somewhere in your house, which generally only more expensive products have. So having one in the living room is really nice because it's like kind of a central space to the rest of your house.
Nice.
So that's convenient. They also said that they updated Google TV with Gemini, which I had, I felt confused about, and also I feel like they're just trying to stick Gemini in anything that they can. They say that it uses Gemini to make AI-powered recommendations for suggestions, which is just suggestions that they already made you, but I guess better, apparently. Overviews about shows and movies now that are generated by AI, which to me just says we fired all the people that did that.
Wait, does that overview is just like, it's not going to literally tell me what happens?
It's just a description of the movie, which people used to make.
But
and
if
now
AI
they're
is
getting
doing
rid of.
that, how can they prove there's no spoilers?
That's true.
That would be so.
Yeah, it's like Harry Potter 6, Dumbledore. Yeah,
You won't believe what happens.
Okay. And the other thing that they were really excited about that I just wanted to cry is ambient mode can still show your photos that are important to you. It can also now show generative AI screensavers. Yeah. So that's basically that. A lot of people are very excited about it because they wanted to make it look nice because they didn't want the radio signals to get interfered with. Like at the house I lived at with Michael Fisher a few years ago, we had one of the Chromecasts, but it was plugged into like a set-top box thing under our console, and it would sometimes have networking problems because we had a lot of metal in there. So their whole thing was like, we want to get it onto the top of your console so that it is not obstructed by anything. And so that's why they made it look nicer.
Yeah.
But
that was my question. They did a bad job at the like quick little announcement of it. Was like, no more hanging dongles. Now you have this nice. And I was like, the hanging dongle was behind my TV. I didn't see it.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
care that it was hanging back there.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, that's kind of it for that. What's your take, Marquez? Since you said you have a lot of thoughts.
My take is I probably won't be getting one. Like I'm happy with the Google TV thing I have now.
Yeah.
It's high res. It's pretty quick. I'm sure being faster and maybe being able to do multiple streams will be fun and nice, but I don't really think I'm going to need to do that. So I guess I'm good.
Yeah, I think it's for people that like want to buy some sort of smart TV player because honestly, when you buy a TV from Samsung or TCL or whatever, they have like a bunch of different apps and the UI sucks and the controller sucks, and I would prefer to just use the Google thing.
This is like a spec bump of the old one, basically.
Basically, yeah. And honestly, they said that most of the spec upgrades were not for anything that they need right now, but for things that they potentially want to do in the future.
We were talking about this the other day because it basically just means that we have two remotes now.
Like your phone and it, you mean?
Well, you can, because you still have to have the remote for the TV, but you would program that to now control your TV, right?
Oh.
But that would have to be
the power button can control your TV over HDMI 2.1.
But that's ARC or eARC or whatever.
CEC, eARC, something like that.
The only problem is my soundbar goes through that. So now do I run into that problem of either needing two remotes or going through that HDMI? And I guess I could plug in through like optical.
That's always my problem. Like I can't figure it out.
You might need to get a splitter.
I also have an eARC soundbar, and I think it just talks directly to this.
Well, what I'm saying, but then I would need to still have a remote that's turning my TV on because it can't get control through HDMI.
Yeah. So you still have two remotes.
Yeah.
Bring back harmony.
Honestly,
we're getting back to the point where like you go to your friend's house and their coffee table had 7 remotes on it for like
the Apple TV remote and this remote.
I just house sat for my parents this past weekend, and I sit down in the living room and I go to just like turn on the TV to watch YouTube, and there's like 4 different remotes, and I'm trying all of them, trying to figure out which one it is.
Dang.
I think
this is the world we live in.
3 remotes. I have the Apple TV remote, the Chromecast remote, and the TV remote, and they're different enough.
That doesn't bother you?
No.
I like the Chromecast UI better than my Samsung UI,
100%.
but I don't want to use 2 remotes, so I'd rather just suffer through the Samsung UI.
Yeah, I think the Chromecast remote turns the TV on and off.
And you have your soundbar through
And
eARC?
it controls the soundbar.
Is it called eARC?
Yeah, I think eARC. And it talks through the TV to the soundbar. So I think if I sit down knowing I'm going to do a Chromecast thing, I can just pick up the Chromecast remote and do everything on that remote. I'm 99% sure. Because there's a power button on the remote, there's volume buttons on the remote, they all work, and then obviously the UI and the Chromecast thing.
And the volume buttons on that remote controls the soundbar?
Yeah.
Damn, you got it.
Yeah.
This
got it
all
figured out.
confuses me a lot. I don't have a
probably pretty
TV,
simple,
so
yeah.
I don't know.
You might have sold me on this. The funny thing is they want this to not be hidden, and if I ever get this, it will be
You
hidden
could still
in
hide
the console.
it.
Yeah, 100%.
But there's the cool button to find the remote, but you can also say, hey, G, into your phone, find my remote, and it'll ring it,
Nice.
which is cool. So, yeah, that's nice. I think the thing that most people are going to be excited about, though, is the new Nest Learning thermostat, because, and I just fact-checked myself, it has indeed been 9 years, not 10.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
Canceled.
9 years since the last generation, the Gen 3. Now we have the Gen 4. This is the first major design change in the Nest Learning thermostat, basically since its inception. Even the Gen 1, for the time, looked really nice. If you compare this to a lot of like Honeywell or standard thermostats, even the Gen 1 looks advanced. But the Gen 3, they basically said they wanted to make it look like a giant Pixel watch.
I was just going to say it just looks like a Pixel watch.
Yeah, they said that. And it kind of does. And it sort of like bevels off. The cool thing about it is it does have bezels, but you can't really notice because they said they used multiple layers of glass and film to sort of like kind of diffuse the bezel, so you can't see it really at all.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
I have a
Just
question.
like the Pixel
Yes.
Watch.
How far off of the wall does this go?
Not like a ton. It's
Is
probably
that as far?
Like an inch off the wall.
No. That was just a stand to be able to see it.
This looks like significant shadow casting behind it.
Maybe. It uses the same mount as the last one.
That's really good to know because I have Nest mounts and Nest thermostats already, and like a ton of places already do. And I don't know that there's any real reason. Is there a reason to upgrade if you already have a Nest thermostat, or is this again just kind of like a spec upgrade?
In my opinion, there are many reasons to upgrade.
like what?
Okay, so it has a 60% bigger screen. To you probably don't care about that, but it does look nice. It can, okay. God, there's so many features of this. I wrote down so many things.
Marquez not caring about a bigger screen needs to go down in the history books.
Well, okay, I guess in the home, I don't like the tech to be built into the home because the tech inside the home gets upgraded all the time. Like my computer, my iPad, my phone, they get changed out all the time. The tech that people build into their houses, I always find, like, you ever seen those like $1 million mansion things where they're like, oh, there's an iPad on the wall and it controls the shades.
Outdated.
And in 3 years, you're like, this is an old iPad. And like, this is a $10 million house and now it's bolted into the wall. I don't want the tech in the home to be
That's fair.
a focus. So the smaller and more like out of the way the tech is, the better. Bigger screen, sure, but like, I wouldn't buy it just
Well,
for
it
that.
does a lot of different things that will actually save you a lot of energy costs. For you, it doesn't matter because you use solar, I guess.
I'm still down to save energy.
Yeah, okay. So it actually uses Soli, which for those that don't remember, Soli was something in the Pixel 4 that they actually had first shown off in like 2012, which is like super fine radar that in all their showing off of it, it could detect like how many cards were in a deck when you like just put a deck of cards on a table. It was that precise. Damn. Then they put it in the Pixel 4 and it was really bad.
It was awful. It was
really awful.
Literally the worst part of it.
Literal doo-doo water.
Yeah, doo-doo water. They had already reduced the battery size in the Pixel 4 from the Pixel 3 and then like the physical battery size, and then Soli just drained it so bad. The only things you could do with it, because the US government was like, oh, well, you can't really use all the capabilities of radar. You can only use like certain parts of it, where you would wave your hand over it to change songs on Spotify or whatever, and it never even worked.
Only
There's a
by
video
accident.
of Adam and I in Central Park trying to film a Pixel 4 review for Android Authority, and for 15 minutes, I was just doing this on a rock in Central Park, and it wasn't working.
Core memory.
It was bad.
Soli did two things for me. It would be like on a wireless charger next to my keyboard at work, and I'd type and I would hit escape and it would think I was reaching for it, and then it would light the screen up and I'd be like, why is that lighting up? And then it would face scan me and unlock my phone, and then I would just be like, shit, now my phone's unlocked. Or when I'm reaching for the Taco Bell on my driver's seat when I'm driving, it would just skip songs as I'm like reaching over.
Every time you reach for a fry, it skips the song.
Okay,
Damn.
but it uses, so the previous Nest thermostat had a motion sensor, but this actually has the radar. So it has this feature called dynamic farsight. And because the display is a lot bigger, it shows you different ambient information depending on how close you are to it when you're looking at it. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
interesting. Because
Right.
right now I have to walk up to the thermostat and like look at it and like really make it obvious, and then it's like, okay, here's the temperature.
Yeah, you can be like across the room and it'll know that you're looking at it, but it will just show you just the temperature in big, bold numbers. But if you're closer to it, the numbers will be smaller and it'll show extra information around it because it knows you're close enough to see the detail.
That's nice.
Which is very cool.
That is nice.
It also knows what the weather is like outside because of like it's connected to Wi-Fi. So it'll show animations that, you know, it's going to rain, whatever. But it has all of these different energy saving features. Like if you want your house to always be a certain temperature, it'll account for how hot the weather outside is going to make your house naturally, passively, or how cool the weather outside is going to make your house passively.
Right.
So it like won't use the amount of energy over the course of the day because it knows, oh, at this time of the day, it's going to get this much hotter. So I only have to put this much energy into heating.
Damn, that's smart.
Fascinating.
Very smart.
That is really interesting.
Also things like if you like your house to be a certain temperature when you come home, when you leave the house, it was already your ideal temperature. And instead of, just completely turning off your cooling system and then it gets really cold while you're gone, and then when you're on your way home, it has to heat it all the way back up, it'll lower the temperature a little bit, but because it uses more energy to heat all the way back up from being completely off than it is to just like leave it on a little bit, it'll leave it on a little bit. It has dynamic, what is it called? When you basically ventilation. So when you ventilate your house, generally you have air coming in from the outside and it sort of like passes through. But if it knows that the AQI is high, it won't ventilate at certain times if you're in certain locations.
I could see Marquez being sold on this in real time.
These are all like nice things.
It's
cool
all nice.
Nice to have.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like upgradable things.
I mean, I think it'll save you energy, which I think is kind of worth it over time.
I feel like judging on how my Nest thermostat right now saves me energy.
Is it not good?
No.
Okay, because I've never actually owned a Nest thermostat.
Yeah.
I've really dialed my Nest stuff to the point where I basically like manually built all my schedules for every day, where like when I leave, it goes up to 78. When I come home at roughly the same time, it's going back to 73, and like it's kind of set already.
I don't want to derail this that far, but is changing temperatures in the Nest thermostat the most confusing thing possible? Not just like one thing, but like changing schedules and stuff like that.
Oh, I do it in the app, but yes, on the thermostat itself, it's a nightmare.
No, on the app. I think
the app's not good either.
I just want to show David. If David hasn't done this, I just really quickly want you to try and
Can you
change.
screen record? Because I've never seen this either.
I need to make sure.
Yeah, making a schedule, it's like a multi-axis thing where you have to like pick the dot for when it will change temperatures, drag it to the day, then drag it to the time, then drag it to the temperature. It's like...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
No? The Nest app. I'm talking about the Nest app, not the Google Home app.
Right?
No, that's the Google Home
That's
app.
Google Home app.
So what's the Nest?
The Nest app is where this
That
all
sounds better.
started.
Welcome to Google.
It's not.
I just want you to...
It's not better.
This was going to be a question, so while we're figuring this out, maybe we can discuss it, is how long till Google ditches the Nest name?
Gosh. Probably
I'm trying
soon.
to screen that.
I don't know. I mean, they ditched the...
I feel like that has really good branding.
They changed like Google Wi-Fi to Nest Wi-Fi. They changed Google Home to
I want
Google
you to try and
Nest.
change the schedule of what my
house
The
is.
house will be
scheduling?
like tomorrow.
Wait.
I don't even know if you're doing it right.
Oh.
This is great radio,
What
guys.
the heck? What is that?
that data point, then I can change temperature or
That's
time.
this looks like one of your like scheduling apps.
Kinda, yeah.
It's crazy
a
to talk
schedule.
to people who live in houses. Because like I haven't lived in a house in like 15 years, and I haven't been able to use any of this stuff.
Literally. My temperature is whatever my landlord decides it is that day.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
man.
probably easier to change than
this
Nest
is
Home app.
this is really bad.
It's so confusing. And like half the
okay.
time Claire and I just like we go out grocery shopping and the whole house is like, well, they're never coming back. Let's just turn everything off. And then you get home and it's sweltering inside.
I did turn off the like smartphone tracking feature because
I think we had to turn it off.
That was I thought that would be such a good idea, and it just never worked well.
No, it's just like
Never worked well.
Smartphone tracking.
it's
Basically, like it knows where your phone is. So if your phone is home, it knows you're home. And so if you leave, it goes, you're away. Time to like turn things into energy saver
Yeah.
mode. And when you come home, it goes, you're back, and let me warm it up for you. I thought like intuitively that would make a lot of sense and it would work well. It doesn't.
no, it's like, oh, you're back. Don't worry, your house only takes 2 hours to cool down now, so
gosh.
just sweat it out for a little while.
Jeez.
Wait, can we talk about
I
that
did derail it, yeah.
one little feature that I think was maybe going to hook me is there's a new temperature sensor.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yes.
have the temperature sensors because one of my thermostats is on a wall next to a window, so the sun is always shining on it. So it always thinks it's 80 degrees when it's not.
Why do you have it there?
Well, that's just where the thermostat is. So I got a temperature sensor
Oh,
to
yeah.
put like in the middle of the room,
Yeah. Okay.
which is where it should think to
Yeah.
adjust the temperature.
right.
And they're the most finicky gadgets I have ever owned.
Are they just like little plastic
plastic
things
puck
with like a soft touch top?
Yep, you can unscrew it. You get a rechargeable battery inside. I've gone through like 7 or 8 of them. Half of them have broken. Half of them I couldn't get to connect. They would work for like a couple months and then disconnect and never reconnect.
Dang.
They're some of the finickiest gadgets in my life. So if they fixed that, that's enough for me
Okay.
to give that a shot.
But
I
it
mean,
would
they-
still be on the wall near the window.
No, I just
but
mean
the
make the
thermometer was
temperature.
on the wall near the
Make the
window.
separate temperature sensor.
There's a temperature sensor
Oh.
puck that you can
Yeah,
have.
Got it.
Yeah. Kind of like, you know how the
I thought it was built into the thermostat.
There is one built into the thermostat.
yeah.
But there's another one that
But
you
if
can...
your thermostat is in a place where it's not really ideal, then you can buy a separate temperature sensor and pair it to the thermostat.
Yeah.
And
From
put
Google?
It, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
And
just
put
a
it
little
wherever
puck.
you want.
Yeah.
And in the basement, like it's in the back corner, and I want the middle of the basement to be where it has the temperature sensor. So I put it on the table in the middle of the basement, and that seems to work okay until it disconnects every 6 months and then explodes. Yeah.
Yeah. So they made a new one, and it comes with it comes with one of them now.
Interesting.
Comes with one, and you can buy them separately, and also in a 3-pack.
Is it backwards compatible?
I don't know about that.
That would be
check.
interesting.
I'm a check.
Yeah. Okay. Something else that's quite interesting is there's a special wire, and all the electricians out there are going to murder me over this. And I'm sorry, because I don't know anything about wiring. But they said, Google's words, there's a special C wire that basically is needed for most smart thermostats. And a lot of homes, especially older homes, don't have this wire. But apparently, Google did some sort of magic with the voltages and the electricity running through the other wires that they're able to do everything without the C wire.
God, I wish Ellis was here.
So I can't explain exactly what's happening, but I can explain that I'm one of the people with the problem that would be solving. So for me, and I believe the reason this is because my AC unit and my thermostat can't control my heat because my AC unit is a condenser with air and my heat is oil through baseboards. So they're two totally separate systems that just happen to not be connected.
Yeah.
So I think because of that, the one singular AC, because I have no zones, I just have
One huge zone.
One huge zone. It was just super basic wires in it. And because of that, it can't, if you want to do the like motion tracking and stuff like that, it takes more energy for the actual unit itself. And since I don't want to charge it all the time, I have to turn all of those things off and barely just get enough energy through the wires that actually are connected. Because those wires are pretty much just there to control that condenser and the air controller.
Okay.
So I'm assuming what that is it would let me use the super basic wires. Because like when you set it all up, it's like connect this here, and this optional wire for like energy.
That's the C wire.
Yeah, and like I don't care about motion tracking enough to have an electrician come in and run a new wire for that.
Yeah.
So that would let me actually being able to use solely and stuff like that.
They said most people do not have to use this wire. If you do have to use it for some reason, they have an adapter that'll make it work that they will send you, apparently. So, it comes in 3 colors: polished silver, polished obsidian, and polished gold. They all look very nice.
There's no black?
Obsidian.
Oh, okay.
It's black. Yeah.
Also, by just the looks of it, it looks like the color almost doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's on the side.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter as much.
But the bezel like comes over.
Yeah.
It's like flowing over the side, so you barely even see anything.
Yeah. It also has these cool like weather animations that play. I don't know.
I don't know if I feel about that. I don't know if I want it to rain inside and outside at the same time.
Yeah. Now the cobalt in the battery is 100% recycled, which is good.
Shout out to Dua Lipa.
Yep. Thanks, Dua Lipa, for pressuring Google through Tim Cook.
The hero we
Through
need.
Tim.
And also zero plastic in the packaging, which is also good. Google's kind of doing that a lot now. So yeah, that's the new Nest Learning Thermostat Gen 4. It is $279 in the United States and $379 in Canada, which seems awful because I'm pretty sure the US exchange rate in Canada is also really bad right now.
Wait, that's not 379 Canadian?
Canadian.
Oh, okay. Got
which I think is even worse, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So it is, and then if you want the temperature sensor, it's $39.99 for one, but it comes with it. Or $99.99 for 3.
Wait, okay. You're saying
$40
it comes, you buy a thermostat, you get one temperature sensor for free.
Yes.
If you want one more temperature sensor, that's $39.99.
Yeah.
And if you want a 3-pack,
It's $100.
$100. Okay.
Yeah.
Canadian exchange rate almost exactly the same.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah. So that was that. And then they also talked to me a bit about the future of Google Home, which apparently people that subscribe to Nest Aware are going to have early access to. Mostly Gemini stuff. Google says they know that you get way too many notifications from your Nest cameras. which you guys probably do.
I do.
Never had
That's
this.
why they're all
absolutely right.
turned off.
Yeah. Now Gemini will identify what's actually important, they say, and surface the ones that they say are actually important.
If this works, this would be the greatest achievement of all time.
Agreed.
Because none of them work right now.
Yeah.
They're all just like, here's a leaf blowing, notification. Here's a car driving by, notification.
Yeah.
Squirrel shadow, notification. It's just, it's constant.
Yeah.
That would be
Do you ever
amazing.
go in and it's just like motion? It's like, I know the tree is blowing in the wind. You don't need to tell me every 5
It's
seconds.
still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also ask Gemini questions like, did the kids leave the bikes in the driveway? And it will pull the
Whoa.
appropriate footage because it's a
Whoa.
multimodal model.
Yo, narc.
Oh, snap. So it's looking, so it can tell by looking at the footage what's happening. And
What
if you
has
ask
happened.
a question about the footage, whoa.
I-
Okay.
I'm going to be like, Lane, did you leave your bike in the driveway? No. Ask Google if you did.
Lane, ask my phone.
Are people going to be creeped out by that? It's
Yes.
their home security footage, and
I'm
you're
already
asking the
creeped out.
Google Assistant about the things that happen in your home security footage.
But it's your home.
It is your home, but it's Google looking at the footage in people's brains.
Well, it's-
in people's brains.
Yeah.
That's what's
sure.
happening.
Fair. That's fair.
Interesting.
I
I
don't know.
just want to point out again that if approached, Google will just hand over the footage to the police. So doesn't need to be an AI looking at your
I
footage.
mean, to be, this is all happening already, isn't it?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now with AI.
Well, I already have the cameras, so might as well just
What
sign
I don't
me up.
understand is
Sign
like,
me up.
what if the kids did put the bikes in the driveway, but then they later moved it? Is it just going to pull the bikes being in the driveway, and then
I would assume
you'll be wrong?
It would go by real time, no?
Well, it goes through the footage you have, so I don't know.
Oh.
It might track like latest to
Yeah, I guess.
earliest.
Did
but
they? Or
Everyone's gonna
is
be a prompt
there?
engineer.
Yes, on Saturday the 12th. What?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And then you can also now ask Gemini to create automations for you in Google Home so that, do you guys know about the automations features in Google Home? They added like
sort,
a
yeah.
editor for it, like for advanced users to like really go hardcore on the animation, on the automations.
I just have a morning one.
Yeah, so now apparently you can ask Gemini to create certain automations based on fairly complex scenarios, which sounds nice.
I think that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Wait, but how? Would it be like, watch me over the last week and
No, you would
suggest
say like,
automations?
hey, make an automation for when I leave the home because of my motion sensor, turn on all the lights in the kitchen and turn off the Nest thermostat.
Or like
You
when I
can-
wake up in the morning, I want to hear the news and the living room lights to be turned on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just being conversational with your technology. If that works, we'll see. They also have new Google Assistant updates, which again, I'm confused. You're asking Gemini, but also you have new Assistant updates. I don't know. It says, using Gemini models to make Google Assistant experience feel more natural. There will be an updated voice model being pushed out for Google Assistant later this year. All right. Can you guys just figure this out, please? Like, just I don't understand why they had to rename Google Assistant to Gemini when the model is named Gemini. It just confuses people because you don't know if they're talking about the Gemini the model or Gemini the new assistant.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
The assistant
Wait.
powered by Gemini.
So
But
Google
it's
Assistant,
it's still called Assistant though.
Google Assistant on Google Home stuff is still Google Assistant, but then you also have Gemini on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
They're using Gemini models to power the updated Google Assistant.
Oh, okay. So you're saying
Because Gemini
none of this
models
makes sense.
are the models, and then there's also Gemini the assistant, which is like competing with the actual Google Assistant.
One update I would love to have is to permanently shut off the hey, next time try asking
Yeah.
this blah 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 thing. It's like I've been using you for 10 years.
Yeah.
Stop
They're
giving
like, what's
me
the
tips
weather?
and
And it's
tricks.
like, it's 72 degrees. Also, if you want a morning report, I can talk about the news to you every single day. Just ask me, hey. It's like, oh my God, why? Why?
It's like a needy friend.
it's
Why? Okay, and then also, speaking of Google, this is pretty big news this week. A judge ruled in the Google antitrust trial that Google is officially exercising monopoly powers in search.
Whoops.
Undersized response to that.
I've been waiting an hour to do that.
Our bad.
Big whoops. Bigger than that soundbite. which is a pretty big deal. They were found to have violated Section 2 of the Sherman Act, which is a monopoly act from a very long time ago, which makes it unlawful for any person to monopolize or attempt to monopolize or combine or conspire with any other person or persons to monopolize any part of the trade or commerce among the several states or with foreign nations. That's the Sherman Act.
Can you read it again? I missed
that. Yeah. So basically they're saying there is no other option in the search market and that search has gotten a lot worse, which is very true.
Yeah. And I think one of the things they referenced was, which we also found out some more information. We already knew that in 2022, Google paid Apple around $20 billion to be the default search engine for Safari. And that came up in the case as being like, how is any other competitors supposed to have money like that on hand to compete?
Mm-hmm.
But apparently somebody accidentally slipped and said, gave out the percentage of what Google is paying Apple. No, Apple.
Yeah,
Google is paying Apple.
Yeah.
So Apple is getting 36% of ad revenue through Google search on Safari.
Yes. To be the default.
To be the default.
Yes.
Okay.
That's wild.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of, and Apple said that was a low number.
I saw somewhere that it was like roughly 20% of Apple's services business.
Yeah. No, it is.
That's crazy.
Which means, it's like a huge number. It's 30% of Apple's operating profit.
Dang. So Google and Apple are like best bros.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's the duopoly hanging out with each other.
Chilling.
What's really weird about this and doesn't really add up, is that Eddie Q, who is works for Apple, you may know, he testified. Wait, let me just double check. It was Eddie Q. It was somebody. Yes. Okay. What I find really weird and doesn't really add up is that Eddie Q from Apple testified and said there is no price that Microsoft could ever pay that would make Apple make Bing the default search engine.
Whoops.
That's the sickest burn in court
Which
ever.
is both the sickest burn ever, but also, if that is the case and Google is the only one they would use, then why is Google paying them $20 billion?
Yeah.
They do it for free is what they're basically saying.
Stopped paying, and there's no world where they use Microsoft.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Go ahead.
My conspiracy theory is that Apple's search engine is ready. And
that's the only
Apple has
reason.
decided that it would cost them, because they did an analysis of how much it would cost Apple to spin up their own competitive search engine, and it was about $20 billion.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence to be competitive with Google. And I think that Apple just thinks like, oh, being a search engine comes with a lot of complexity. You're turning into a B2C company instead of just strictly being a B2B company instead of strictly being a B2C company. And so let's just let Google pay us $20 billion. It's easier that way. So my theory is that Apple's like ready and Google is paying them in order to stay a monopoly, because literally overnight, if Apple pressed the button and was like, we now have a search engine and the default search on every Apple product through Safari is Apple search engine, there would be an insane traffic dump for Google.
Yeah. Like
Apple search.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Another interesting tidbit.
I buy it.
Yeah. Another interesting tidbit that got discovered through Discovery was that Apple rolled out this feature called Suggestions in Spotlight a long time ago, which is basically when you're searching in Spotlight on your iPhone and you search like what's Barack Obama's age or something, it will a lot of the times just automatically give you the answer or like search it for you. And when they rolled that out, Google saw a 10 to 15% query loss through Google on iPhones, and which was up to 10% of the Safari revenue profit at the time. And so as part of their 2016 deal that they made with Apple, Apple had to promise to never make that product better. Which is like
That's
the most antitrust thing you could possibly think of, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, our competitor made this too good. We'll just pay you off to not make it better so that we're still the only game in town.
Damn.
Yeah.
I wish
And
people
they
would pay us
ruthless.
off. To
I was
not
gonna
be
say,
better.
well, and they still scrape our YouTube videos for
Pay me to
nothing.
make sure that I never get better at my job. Yeah. So, yeah. Very fun. The judge said Maybe AI search is the future, but the future is not here yet, at least not in a way that's relevant to antitrust law. AI may someday fundamentally alter search, but not anytime soon. And like, for me, that's like so much for welcome to the Gemini era.
This whole statement, that judge had so many zingers.
Dude, I know.
It was great.
And it makes it seem like the judge was pretty privy to like all the stuff that was going on as well.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I can't get over the line of there's no amount of money you could pay me for Bing.
Ain't no way.
It's like,
Same.
Mom, there's nothing you could do to let me hang out with Nick this weekend, or like
No amount of money.
No amount of candy can make me want to do that.
Okay, one last thing that I think was a major thing in this trial. Google did a survey in 2020, this like study that they paid a lot of money for, that about what would happen and how much money they would lose if they made Google search significantly worse. If they just like made the product a lot worse over time, how much traffic they would lose. And the result of the study was that they would basically not lose any money or any revenue or any traffic.
That tracks because since 2020, it's become terrible.
Yeah. And so that basically says like, we can just like make the experience way worse for our users while making ourselves way more money. I feel like the only reason that they feel confident enough to roll out AI overviews and just not care that it's terrible is that they know that 95% of people are still going to use Google every single day.
Where are they going to go?
DuckDuckGo.
What are they going to do?
Bing.
Who's going to
Not
know?
Bing.
.com.
You can pay me enough to use Bing.
Search GPT.
Yeah. So pretty insane. There's a really good Verge article that actually like points out a lot of the most insane things that happened in discovery during this trial. So I recommend going and reading that. Very useful. We will link that in the show notes. But yeah, it's a pretty big deal. They are officially a monopoly in search, and there's nothing that's happening yet because they discovered that. But they said within 3 to 4 months they will come to some decision, and it could go as far as Google being forced to sell off parts of its search business, which is crazy. Like sell off AdSense as a separate thing or something like that.
There are laws.
There are.
Good to know. Good to know. All right. Well, we should take a quick break. Before we do that, though, Adam, hit us with the trivia.
Question number 2. So after 11 years, the Chromecast is dead. The Chromecast, as it turns out, was not the first product that Google ever made.
Google -1.
It was, however, launched alongside a very popular tablet. What OS version was that tablet running at launch?
It's 2012.
Questions are fun when there's multiple levels I don't know.
There's really only one question. I just wanted to layer it in a bunch of things that would confuse you.
Can I just give you the number?
I will accept the number.
I'm gonna try to give you the dessert as well, but I know the number.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you know there's a dessert?
Well,
I know there's.
okay. Anyway,
We'll think about that. Answers at the end. We'll be right back. Support for Waveform comes from Shopify. So some businesses start out as hobbies. Say you're into 3D printing. Maybe you really enjoyed making that jewelry organizer for a friend or those gaming accessories for your siblings. Well, if you turned that into a business, you could possibly make some money back on that absurdly expensive machine. But no matter what it is that you're selling, Shopify can help you reach those new heights. So Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell from everywhere at every stage of your business. That could be through their all-in-one commerce platform or their in-person point-of-sale system. According to Shopify, they help you turn browsers into buyers 36% better than average when you compare them to other leading commerce platforms. Plus, their award-winning help is there to support you at every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. So sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/waveform. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/waveform now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/waveform.
Support for this show comes from Meta.
Have a question or need how-to advice? Just ask Meta AI. Whether you want to design a marathon training program that will get you race ready for the fall, or you're curious what planets are visible in tonight's sky, Meta AI has the answers. Perhaps you want to learn how to plant basil when your garden only gets indirect sunlight. Meta AI is your intelligent assistant. It can even answer your follow-up questions. like what you can make with your basil and other ingredients you have in your fridge. Meta AI can also summarize your class notes, visualize your ideas, and so much more. The best part is you can find Meta AI right in the apps you already have: Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and Messenger. Just tag Meta AI in your chat or tap the icon in the search bar to get started. It's the most advanced AI at your fingertips. Expand your world with Meta AI.
Okay, welcome back. Marquez, have you ever heard of meatloaf?
The food?
No.
The what? The person?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no, I've never.
The singer.
The singer.
Meatloaf the singer?
The
Yeah.
singer.
No,
Have you ever seen Rocky Horror Picture Show?
no,
Have you ever heard I Would Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That?
no.
We're off to a great start.
What's a more popular
This
song?
next
besides-
segment is really going to confuse you.
Cool. Perfect.
There's got to be a meatloaf song, you know. Bad Out of Hell,
No,
Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
no. Yeah, I doubt. I probably haven't heard.
Have you seen Fight
Rocky
Club?
Horror Picture.
No.
Yeah, Fight
Cool. You
All
don't
right.
really need to know any of this, but the next segment Adam created is based off of the lyrics of a
Meatloaf song.
Inspired by meatloaf.
Yeah.
Okay.
The person, not the food.
Do you like meatloaf?
The food.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love meatloaf. I
Yeah,
feel like
that's
it's
fine.
super underrated.
It's really good, but it's really easy to mess up.
Oh.
You can make it really dry, really easy. And then
Oh.
I haven't had it since I was like 4, but it is
Oh.
really good.
You remember it?
I do.
But you haven't had it since you were 4, but you remember it.
Because I hated all the other foods my parents made me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's vivid.
Really left
This-
an impression.
this band, my dad used to say, would tour at some like local places by him, and people would go thinking Meatloaf was the special at the bar that night. And then it was just some guy singing like rock music, and
Yeah.
they were kind of sad.
Yeah.
Huh.
They were sad to see meatloaf.
Meatloaf is.
I think if he's touring at a place that might get confused with the food Meatloaf, he wasn't that big yet.
That's fair.
My dad was a big Meatloaf fan. Anyways,
So am I.
Anyway, this segment is called 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad,
Okay.
based on the song. So every week when we pick things to talk about, there are always a few news stories and fun things that kind of slip through the cracks just because we're trying to hit the big topics. But I came up with this little segment to give us a chance to cover some of them. I'm going to explain a few quick stories to you, and I need you guys to decide if it's a good idea or a bad idea.
Okay.
The theory behind the name is that because there are 3 of you, there should never be a tie. There will always be something that's either a good idea or a bad idea.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Number 1, the Teenage Engineering EP 1320 Medieval. There's a link there for
Good
you guys
idea.
to click.
Okay.
This is a new sampler based on the EP 133, the one that I have and can't shut up about. But it is a medieval version.
For some reason.
What's different about it? It has a new look with Old English font, new graphics,
what is
a new colorway that's brown or beige, and best of all, it's filled with preloaded samples of instruments like the hurdy-gurdy,
I'm right with you.
harps, trumpets, Gregorian chants, torture
Oh.
chamber reverb, and even sound effects like swords, animals, and a dragon.
I think we should let the Swedish do anything they want.
Can I ask a sound question?
Sure.
Why is it not called the medieval?
The medieval.
Why is it not MIDI?
That would be fantastic.
EVAL?
Do you guys want to hear some of the sounds that it has?
Teenage Engineering. I will
Come on,
take
you could have
the
done that.
partnership on that.
Wait, it has special sounds?
Yeah.
It's
Listen.
got sword fighting.
Really?
This is a beat made with this device. That's one.
Flames.
This is another one.
Okay.
All right.
Honestly, I
Good
feel
idea
like
or
this is
bad
like
idea?
half of indie game music.
That was just
Fair.
old school RuneScape.
Yeah. True. Good idea.
All right. That's one for good idea. Andrew Marquez.
Just because I love it doesn't mean it's a good idea.
I think it
That's
does.
where I want to go.
No, I think it does because I think it's going to sell a bunch. This is basically a special edition thing, and everyone always buys the special edition things. I am more compelled to buy this than I was to buy the original version,
I can't
personally.
deny this. I have to say good idea.
Yeah.
Marquez.
Because it's so out of left field that it's like gonna generate buzz, you know?
Bad idea.
I love when tech companies take their products and take photos of them like in the grass
Yeah.
or on a rock. there's something hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, this makes sense to be on a rock.
What's funny is that during the interview with David Erickson, the co-founder that we had on a special Waveform episode, go back and listen to it, I asked him, because this is going to be an EP series, and I asked him, are there going to be more of these? And he said yes with like a smirk. This is not what I was expecting.
I love that the font is like
Old English.
Old English, yeah.
And they
Like,
renamed
even
some of the things on it, too.
But even the digital font inside that changes is like alarm clock-esque, but Old English. Oh.
They're also selling a vinyl for $22.99 that
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to buy
Well-
because that's not even that expensive for a vinyl.
All right, so Marquez, why is this a bad idea?
Too niche.
Fair enough.
Too
I'm-
niche.
Honestly,
You're not into
That's-
Renaissance fairs?
I'm not particularly. Yeah, I'm sure there's. Look, with every product, it's a good idea for someone. I just think there's not enough of those people for this one.
All right.
it has
So-
a $100 medieval quilt bag carrier if you want to buy it.
The shipping is $16 on a $22 product.
It comes by carrier pigeon.
All right.
All right. Well, the consensus, good idea.
Yeah.
I would love to put this on my desk and not know how to use it.
How does it?
Yeah, that's what I do.
$300.
It's the same price as the original EP 133.
I just want
It's
to
$299.
reiterate that we should let the Swedish do anything they want. Anything they want.
All right. The second thing is Amazon's AI podcast picker.
Bad idea.
So we always talk about. Let me explain. Okay. We always talk about how podcast discoverability is bad, and that's one of the reasons we throw it on YouTube, because it's a discovery engine.
That's true.
Amazon Music launched an AI feature that will help you find new episodes based on topics mentioned in the episode. So, quote, to suggest relevant topic tags, podcast transcripts and descriptions are analyzed by AI alongside human review to identify key topics that are discussed in a particular episode. So using AI for podcast discovery, good idea or bad idea?
I can go first. It is a good idea. Specifically. It's a good idea.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
Does it only serve you different episodes of that same podcast, or does it give you different podcasts?
Different podcasts and different episodes.
It's a good idea.
So we got one good idea.
So what I'm assuming you're getting at is the idea is great, but
The product?
person doing it maybe isn't.
Yeah,
gonna do
may
the
or may
best
not
job.
be good, may or may not work well, may or may not actually follow through, but
That's
it's
fine.
a good idea.
This is just for the idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
Yeah.
That's too.
I like any idea that helps podcast discoverability. David?
My question is, how is this different from just Googling the word?
What?
Like in the sample that it shows, it's the Stuff You Should Know podcast subjects, the duality of caffeine, and then the topics that it shows that you can then search for more podcasts about is caffeine, which is obvious, coffee, dopamine.
I think
What if I just search those terms? Wouldn't
You
it show me
probably-
podcasts anyway?
No,
Only-
you might find like a list that someone wrote on a website.
yeah, or like if
No, I mean
it
in the app.
specifically has that name in the title, but if a podcast search just sucks so bad. I feel like you would
Okay.
have a hard time finding this. Where if this is actually pulling from the content, and also not just that, but knowing the content of what it is, like so if you search coffee, it doesn't just mean they said coffee in the transcript once, but like the topic is actually. This is an assumption,
Okay.
by the way, but
Considering I don't think it diminishes the experience, I think it's a good idea.
Oh, so all good ideas. Okay.
And
so
I
good
never
idea.
thought that I would think
Wow.
Amazon and AI in the same sentence would be a good idea. but
Amazon
here we are.
AI.
Idea.
Yeah.
idea.
We need to try it.
All right. So good idea. Next is the Ford Bronco and Mustang e-bike thingy.
Nice.
Yeah. Ford is collabing with N+, an e-bike company, to release a Bronco and Mustang e-bike. They have rear hub motors that put out max 750 watts of power and 85 nanometers of torque. I don't even know what that is.
Newton meters.
Newton meters, thank you. The Bronco will be rugged for all-terrain use and has a dual suspension system that they're calling GOAT, which stands for Goes Over Any Type of Terrain.
Should it
And
just
will
be
run
goes
you-
over any terrain?
Yeah,
I think that's
it
just
should be.
all.
but-
That's just
it
what
should be.
all terrain means, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But then how will they get the GOAT
Yeah,
acronym?
they need it to be called GOAT somehow.
Yeah, it's got to be called GOAT. This thing costs $4,500. And the Mustang e-bike will cost $4,000. And there will also be a 60th anniversary edition that will be sold exclusively at Ford dealers. But my question, e-bike versions of popular cars, good idea or bad idea?
Not for
E-bike.
$4,500.
E-bike versions of popular cars. I'm definitely leaning towards bad idea.
Here,
Or just not a good idea. You know, like there's a difference.
no, I hear what you mean.
It's not
There's
a
nothing
bad
inherent.
idea.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
Right.
There's no danger here. It's just that's not a good idea.
That's a great point.
It's like
Something that's not a good idea is not necessarily a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did
where I'm
not
at.
see this coming. This
it
is a
looks
wrinkle in my plan.
cool.
I
The
guess.
picture looks nice.
It looks
Sure.
fine.
Here's my biggest question about this. If they're basing it off of old cars, I would assume the majority of people who are very nostalgic about those old cars might not want to be traveling at 30 miles an hour on a bike anymore because they're a bit older and it doesn't feel the safest. I'm not saying old people can't ride bikes.
I see
what are you saying,
a lot of old people
I feel
riding
like
bikes.
spending $4,500 on a bike
Well, here's
feels more
An
dangerous.
e-bike.
here's a counterpoint. Porsche's e-bike is
$10,000.
$10,700.
Damn, this is a good deal then.
My take is that there are a bunch of white label e-bike brands that go to car manufacturers and say, "Want to make a ton of money?" And then they just put the name on it.
And then they don't make a ton of
And then
money.
they don't because nobody buys it. I've literally never seen anyone with one of these.
Yeah.
I doubt you ever will.
Yeah. I mean, apparently there's the Polestar bikes too, right?
There's a Bugatti scooter out there
Bu-
somewhere in the
The
wild.
Bugatti scooter is chef's kiss.
Oh, so that's a good idea.
No, it is terrible. And I love it so much.
I'm going to say bad idea because I don't think they're going to sell any.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also going to say bad idea, even though the color matching paint is kind of cool. What they did with the red bike and the red old Ford.
That's my
I think
favorite
that's,
part about
That's
it.
pretty cool, but that's about it.
I'll go good idea because it looks nice. It was well designed. And if you're okay with paying a bunch of extra money for nostalgia and looks on an e-bike, I don't see any reason not to get this.
Except that I think the company is going to spend more money on making these than they're going to actually sell.
I ain't losing any money on it. Good idea.
All right.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2
If
out
they
of 3
made
ain't
these-
bad, but it's still a bad idea.
If they did like a Pikachu e-bike, I think it would sell way more than this.
Don't give them that idea.
Interesting.
Wait, does it say how fast this thing goes?
It did. I don't know if I
The
wrote it
speed of
down.
a original Mustang, which
I
is
wanna
probably
say
55.
28 miles per hour.
Yeah, I was going to say
28.
30.
But lacks a throttle. Oh, so it's only
Pedal.
assisted,
Yeah.
pedal assisted.
Interesting.
I feel bad that I said old people can't ride bikes. You can.
You could do anything.
I probably shouldn't ride a bike.
Robert Downey
You can
Jr.
do
was
what you
on.
want, kids. You can do anything.
I don't even know when that one's from. Robert Downey Jr. was spotted on a Harley Davidson e-bike.
See, it's cool.
Hmm.
He's like 40.
Is that
They do
Porsche?
make e-bikes.
Oh no, it's a Porsche one. He was on a Porsche e-bike.
Porsche.
Porsche.
Makes e-bikes now. Man.
Porsche bike.
Porsche.
Porsche
$10,700 for a Porsche e-bike.
All right.
Well, look, as you said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
We have some good.
Are
Some
you
good
going to go
products
listen to the
there.
song when you get home?
No, I'm not.
It's fine. I'll play it as
Sorry.
soon as we leave.
We
Okay.
eventually got you to watch Her.
It only
Yeah.
took 2 years.
I don't feel
Paradise
as...
by the Dashboard might be longer than her.
That's true. That's true.
Her had a shocking amount of relevance.
Yeah, I'm not as incentivized
doesn't.
to
Yeah.
get you to listen to Meatloaf.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Well, we should let's hit trivia one last time. Yeah. It's a good way to end. I gotta cover my second answer because I remember
Trivia,
that, but not the first thing.
Trivia dude.
All right. Quick update on the score. David, 15. Andrew, 16.
What?
Yeah.
I thought we were all tied.
No. You said the same thing last week when I read the score.
I thought
And Marquez with 15.
Really?
I'm winning?
Yeah, by 1
Oh,
point.
he's carrying the one.
I thought we were
Carrying the one.
tied.
That's what I said. Wait,
You know what, Andrew? I'm taking your point away.
I honestly thought I was losing. So.
Well, you were, but then you got ahead.
Question
actual
1.
Okay.
I'm going to read you 3 hints. You tell me what company I'm talking about. So, this company was started by 3 men in a Denny's. Number 2. Before starting the company, the CEO actually worked at AMD. And fun fact, this same person actually used to bus tables at Denny's. Really likes Denny's. Number 3. The original Xbox used a graphics chip from this company, which had a floating point performance of 7.3 GFLOPS.
The original Xbox. What's a company that's older than the original Xbox? I feel like I might be right.
I'll give you guys another hint. It is worth over $1 trillion right now, this company.
Oh, that really narrows it
Wait,
down.
what? Really? Wait, $1 trillion?
Significantly narrows it down.
Wait, he previously worked at AMD. Oh, shoot.
This is so.
I'm so between 2, and if it's the other one, I'm going to be so mad.
I just hope someone else guesses what I wrote. Oh, okay.
All right,
Okay.
flip it and read. What do you guys got?
I hope it's not Intel.
All together now.
NVIDIA.
Woo! Okay, we got it.
There we
I
go.
wrote, yeah, okay. I changed it after you said the $1 trillion.
Yeah, I know. I figured it.
I thought it was
The
going to be
rest of them was
Texas
kinda hard.
Instruments.
I almost said Intel. I almost said Intel.
Then I said
Well.
$1 trillion company. And you,
Yeah, and I was like, oh.
oh, never mind.
Well, Intel, yeah, okay.
Anyway,
Robert Moore.
question 2. After 11 years, the Chromecast is dead, but it was launched alongside a popular tablet. What OS version was that tablet running?
Do we get an extra point if we name
No.
a tablet?
No. You'll get my love and respect, but not an extra point. Andrew with 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
I'm going for the love and respect right now. Did I review this product?
You did.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh wait, did we have to write the number, or we could write the letter?
The number.
Well, I did
I mean, I'll take both. Whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, David, what do you got?
Android 4 ice cream sandwich.
No?
Oh.
Nope.
I just wrote N.
Android N.
Android N.
No.
Nougat was recent.
I
Marquez?
also wrote Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich, Motorola
Was it-
Zoom Hollow.
No.
Oh, no, it was an Nexus 7, bro.
It was a Nexus 7 2013, which was
Yeah.
running.
Was it Android 5? No.
Nexus at what year?
It wasn't
2013.
Honeycomb, was it?
No.
Oh,
4.3.
4.3.
Oh, 4.3.
That's specific, bro.
Jelly Bean.
Jelly Bean was 4.3?
4.3.
Why did they do that?
4.0 is ice cream
I
sandwich.
Yeah.
remember the Jelly Bean animation on my Nexus 7. Dang.
Wait, what was the question again? Is this wrong?
It was what OS version was
Because
the,
it was
the
4.3.
Nexus 2013 tablet running,
was
basically,
4.3.
when it launched. Because
Is
the
that
Chromecast,
how you phrased it, though?
No. So the way I phrased it was the Chromecast was launched alongside a popular tablet. What OS version was that tablet running? So it was like a two-parter kind of.
Okay, yeah.
Should have remembered it was Jelly
Dang.
Bean. I remember the Jelly Bean animation on my Nexus 7.
Same. We have a couple jelly beans here in our top-down set. Do you know what the jelly beans? The little colorful...
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like a
Damn, I
little
thought we
red-
had jelly beans in the kitchen for a second. I got really
I
excited.
do like jelly beans, but
It's a little red jelly bean with a smiley face
Yeah.
and Android ears.
Yeah.
Do you know what we
Shout out to
pulled
Android.
out for a video the other day? That's going to be on Studio Channel soon.
Teaser.
The peppermint Android. Remember, like
that we painted?
we painted it because we were trying to troll everyone to thinking that we knew that.
No,
We thought
you
it was
did
gonna
troll
be-
everyone.
We thought it was going to be...
Well, because the year before was Oreo, and it was like
peppermint.
so much Oreo that people started believing it wasn't Oreo, and then they trolled it at I/O. So then we built a peppermint
yeah.
one to try and make people think we knew ahead of time. And I think Hiroshi retweeted it to really troll everyone.
And
Because then
that's,
it
isn't that
wasn't.
the first year that they stopped using desserts?
No, that was pie, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, pie, and then what was Q?
I think
That's when they stopped.
Yeah.
That's when they stopped using desserts. Like,
if only Google had
quiche,
Gemini back then to
He should have
decide.
been cool.
Yeah, but that's not a dessert, though. I could talk, you know me. I could talk about quiche for a while. So
about
that's
frittatas?
we have to end the podcast there before I go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, that's been it. Thanks for watching and listening to this episode of Waveform, and we'll catch you guys very soon in the next one. Peace.
Waveform was produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Rovin. We're partnered with the Vox Media Podcast Network, and our intro outro music was created by Vane Sill.
Let's go.